Well, good evening and welcome to another sports quiz with the stars, brought to you by the Sporting Club. My name is Ian Stafford. I'm the owner and founder of the Sporting Club, and a very warm welcome on a very warm evening to one and all. Thanks so much for joining us. And a big thank you immediately to our exclusive sponsor for tonight. They are TAG, Test Assurance Group. And what they do is that they present end-to-end testing solutions for COVID-19. They're working directly with employers to deliver a complete antibody and antigen testing to employees to enable a safe, controlled, fast and manageable approach to return to work. The systems are data-led, providing employers with critical information as we bring the UK back to work. And my goodness, we can't wait to all get back to work. I'm sure you can't either. So a big thank you to TAG, the Test Assurance Group. Check them out, providing a massively important product and incredibly relevant at this moment in time for the workforce. So thanks a lot, TAG. A quick reminder of what we've got coming up. Next week, we have another quiz, this time with the former England Test batsman and grandson, famous grandfather, Mr. Nick Compton, grandson of the wonderful Dennis Compton. Nick had a very good career himself. He'll be joining us next week and the week after for another quiz, sports quiz with the stars. It's with Martin Chariots of Fire, the Rugby League legend. Some other little bits of news for you. We have some live physical events returning in September. Social distancing measures, of course, if required. We have a David Hay lunch in September. We have a Barry Hearn breakfast in October, as well as a Tim Henman lunch. These are all in London. And we have, to be confirmed, a Sir Jackie Stewart lunch in November. And we have an evening with Lewis Moody as well, drinks and canapes, etc. And of course, we have our big end of year awards gala dinner. So much to look forward to. We also have in Manchester Christmas lunch with not just Joe Root, but Ben Stokes as well. What a lunch. That's going to be at Old Trafford Cricket Ground as well. So fingers crossed we can do big events such as that by the end of the year. And next year, we're assembling a whole raft of new super duper big events. Don't forget also, we've just launched our hospitality and lifestyle division as well. So if you're interested in buying any packages, any ticketing packages that you want to go to any event, don't forget 2021 next year is going to be the mother of all sporting years because of all the postponements this year merged into all the great events there already are for next year. So whether it's Cheltenham or the Six Nations or Wimbledon, or it's the Lions, or it's the Ryder Cup, or it's the Olympics, we can provide pretty much everything that you need for that. Anyway, enough of that. Let's concentrate on tonight. Tonight we have an absolute legend, good friend of the Sporting Club, by the way, presented one of our awards at our Sports Awards dinner last November. Brought the house down by doing a haka on stage and encouraging everybody else, all 500 in the room, to get up and do it with him. He's won 58 official caps for the All Blacks, another 42 non-international matches for the All Blacks. I must ask him what exactly that means, because they don't really do that anymore, do they? Was part of that magnificent New Zealand team between 87 and 95, 3 World Cups, part of the 93 team that beat the Lions, and famously scored 3 test match drop goals, 1 against the hapless English in the 95 semi-final, when a young man called Jonah Lomu absolutely destroyed England. So it is a great pleasure and privilege to welcome to the show tonight, and hopefully he's here waiting for us, Mr. Zinzan Brooke. Are you there, Zinzan? I'm hoping he's... Oh, hello, I see some action. Hello, Zinzan. Can you hear me? I can see you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Zinzan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Ah, fantastic. And that's either a magnificent backdrop, artificial backdrop we put up behind your Zoom, or it's actually a beautiful summer's day with trees and you're in your garden or something.
That's the garden just there. There.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I've got these plastic football men. And
Yeah.
that's outside of the garden there.
Fantastic. Let's all go around to yours later. Listen, thanks so much for joining us, Zinzan. And I think you've got your questions and I've got my questions. Before we start, let's just quickly clear this one up, because when I introduced you just now, I said he played officially 58 times for the All Blacks, but he also played another 42. Oh, you've gone a bit dark now. What's happening? You've gone all silhouette-y. There we go. That's better. And he played another 42 non-international matches for the All Blacks. Now, people don't do that anymore. What's a non-international match?
Well, it's just a midweek, and it's a team that you're not playing the country. So Test matches are just country to country, and the other ones which is a little bit of shame for the spectators and the rugby purists, that they miss out on watching either South Africa and the All Blacks Australia when they tour the Northern Hemisphere, or vice versa, the Northern Hemisphere go down under. So it's a great shame, those 12, 13 match tours.
So these are games against what, like the Barbarians or Lions midweek games, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we had games playing Swansea, Cardiff, selection sides here in England. A selected 15, but it's lots of opportunities for players to play against the All Blacks and try and actually better yourself. Try and better yourself to try and get in the Test team and put the pressure on the Test players. Yeah,
of course, because in the old days, of course, as the All Blacks used to, they famously lost against Munster and famously lost against Clonefley, and anybody who played in those games for the winners have dined out on it ever since. They just don't do that anymore, do they?
No, they don't, and it is a real shame. But the you're looking at some of the Super Rugby and the Championship that you actually have here, the Premiership here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's absolutely fantastic, and the standard is brilliant. I've just been watching a little bit of the Super Rugby, the Aotearoa New Zealand Rugby, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. There's great things happening, but there's a little bit of reshaping with the global game now, and just making sure that everyone, not only just the top tier nations, it's the second and third tiers, to make sure that these guys are looked after as well.
Yeah. Now, maths was never my strongest point, Zinzan, but even I could work out 58 caps plus 42 non-international matches for the All Blacks equals 100. So shall we just say you played 100 times for the All Blacks?
100 times for the All Blacks. Yeah, 100 times for the All Blacks is nice.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah. Right, we shall talk lots over the next 50 minutes or so, but we've got to get into the quiz. So everybody at home, if you're poised with your pencil or your pen or your piece of paper, sounds very old school, that. But anyway, don't forget, everybody, it's just for fun. So there's no point in Googling. Just see how well you do.
I can't participate then, can I? Because I want to.
Well, not really, no, because if you did, you'd probably get them all right, wouldn't you?
Oh, that's right. I got the answers, haven't I?
You'd like to think. So I'm going to kick off. I'll do question 1. You do question 2, and so on and so forth. We're going to do 10 questions, people. We're then going to provide the answers. Then Zinzan and I can have a little half-time chat for 10 minutes or so about his life and times. And then we'll do the second half of the quiz, the next 10 questions, and then we'll provide the answers. And then you'll find, everybody, that the hour's just going to absolutely fly by. So off we go. Everybody ready? Question 1, which is for me to ask. In 2 days' time, on Saturday, it's the FA Cup final. It's going to be played between Arsenal and Chelsea. The Chelsea manager, Frank Lampard, what a good job he's done, by the way. He's won it 4 times for Chelsea. And that was all for Chelsea. He also famously played for West Ham. But can you name 2 of the 3 other clubs that he has played for? 2 of the 3 other clubs that he has played for, and that is worth 2 points. Tricky one, that. You either know it or you don't. Zinzan, over to you.
Done a great job. Right, question 2. Question 2. This is a rugby question also. The English Club Premiership began in 1987. Which team has won the title the most and how many times? And that's worth 2 points also.
There we go. There we go. I suspect that you might be able to have a good guess at who might have won it. But if you get how many times they won it as well, then you're too clever by half. Right, my turn. Question 3. This is a Formula 1 question, and it's regarding Sir Jackie Stewart, who is down to be our lunch guest in November, COVID permitting. But if he can make it and we can make it, I guarantee you it's going to be amazing, because that guy is just one of those guys. I don't know whether you met him or not, Zinzan, but every single word he says counts. Every word counts.
Yeah, I do.
So,
I have met him. Very nice guy.
Yeah. He's an impressive individual, isn't he? So, Question is, how many world titles did Sir Jackie Stewart win? And what other sport was he good enough to compete for Scotland in at the Commonwealth Games? Yes, he was good at another sport as well. What was it? Competing for Scotland at the Commonwealth Games. How many world titles? What other sport did he compete for Scotland in? 2 points. You into F1, by the way, Zinny?
Yeah, I do. I like I like the fast. When in my youth, I used to drive probably a little bit faster than I should, but I love being behind a wheel. I do like the feel of a bit of speed. So I do like the Formula 1. Yeah,
excellent. All right, your turn. Question 4.
Question 4. So this is for the cricket people. Right. Can you name the main grounds where Leicestershire and Worcestershire play? Can you name the main grounds where Leicestershire and Worcestershire play? And that is for 2 points.
There we go. Now you've got a little bit. Oh, there you go. You're back now. You went a bit dark there for a second, but you're back. Okay. Right. My turn. Actually, just whilst we've got it, I don't want to rub salt in the room, because it's pretty good being a New Zealander and into sport. But that Cricket World Cup final last year, apart from being the greatest game of cricket ever, are you okay with that? Are you okay the way it ended?
Hey, there's always got to be a result. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way. So no, obviously, it was. Yeah, look, it was, you know what they say in the cricket, the rub the green, the bounce of the ball in the situation. But, it was a mighty fine game. It was fantastic. But there's, unfortunately, circumstances like that. Yeah, you sort of probably both teams could have deserved the win, but unfortunately it didn't go the way. So,
they scrapped the law now, the one about who scores the most boundaries. Surely the more obvious thing would have just played a super over again until somebody won.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I wouldn't mind that. That's
it's a bit late now, I'm afraid, but anyway, it's a nice idea. Just a year late. Right, my turn. Question 5, tennis question. Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, Novak Djokovic, and to a lesser extent Andy Murray have absolutely dominated the Grand Slam events for so many years. Can you name the last 2 outside that 4 who have won a Grand Slam male tennis tournament? Who are the 2 outside the big 4 who last won Grand Slam tournaments in men's tennis? And that is worth 2 marks rather. Okay, question 6. Zinzan, over to you.
Question 6. Yes, the sport that I love post rugby is golf. The Ryder Cup question. The Ryder Cup has been postponed until next year. Can you name the 2 Americans who have played the most Ryder Cups for 2 points?
There we go. Right.
And I know the answers to that.
Are you a golfer?
I am a golfer. Yeah, I love it.
Any good?
Well, I'm playing off an 8. A lot of people.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no. So yeah, it's an 8. Since January. Since January, I've only had three games, so I know I'm an 8. But if I went on the range now, I probably wouldn't actually hit an 8 handicap. So I'm probably around about a 9 or a 10 potentially. So
and who are the golfers who you have enjoyed the most over your sort of adult lifetime?
Well, God, there's absolute superstars, but like the guy that actually attracted, I know he hasn't fallen off the cliff at the moment, but Tiger Woods for me was just an inspiration growing up, and there's lots of the guys. But yeah, for me was Tiger Woods. I just loved everything what he did and what it meant to him, and he was so competitive and an absolute phenomenal athlete. So
and he was probably golf's first proper athlete, wasn't he? Proper super fit athlete.
Yep. He was absolutely phenomenal, and he demonstrated that on many occasions when the pressure was on. Tiger, some way, and that's what great athletes do. They get themselves out of jail and they produce a performance. And you sort of think, he said, how did he actually do that? Was that a fluke or whatever? But the thing is, they actually know how to win, and they actually have when they've been put into so many situations like that, they can actually respond to that.
Yeah. I don't know a sport where fitness is a handicap. Hey, it never does you any harm to be fit. Right. Question number 7, which is mine. It's an Olympic question. 5 British Olympians have all won 4 gold medals. Can you name 3 of those 5 who have won 4? So there's a few who have won 5, and there's a couple of won 6, but we'll ask name 4 summer Olympic gold medals. Right. Olympics next year. Obviously, it's going to be this year, but next year. I don't know about you, Zinzan. I absolutely love the Olympics. It's the one time when you really, really get into sports you never thought you would.
Yeah, and yeah, I do. I absolutely, I love it. It's for how long does it lasts for? About 3 weeks, doesn't it? Is it 3 weeks?
Yeah.
I just love it. I'm a big fan of sport. I think sport brings people together, and regardless of whether you win or lose, but the Olympics is just something that's phenomenal. And I commend every person that actually has participated in the Olympics, regardless of whether you actually won it or not. But I do generally love that. It's a global. It's a way that the whole world gets together for a short time.
Right. So you've got question 8, and in advance, I apologise for this question. Okay.
Question 8, Rugby League. Rugby League. Oh, no, that's question 10. Sorry. Oh, rugby. Okay. In last year's Rugby World Cup semi-final, England luckily beat New Zealand. Can you name the score of who was? Can you name the score and who was the game's only try scorer?
Beautifully read. I don't recall putting the word "luckily" in that sentence, but anyway, it seems to have made its way in. You've got a little bit dark again now, by the way, just so that you know. You've got that's it. There we go. Right, my turn. Question 9. West Bromwich Albion have just gained promotion to the Premier League. Their manager is Slaven Bilic. And by the way, if you watch him as a TV pundit, box office, rather like Roy Keane, he's a must-watch when he's in the studio. But anyway, he's doing very well as a manager. Can you name 2 clubs, not countries, he's done a few countries, 2 clubs that Slaven Bilic has also managed apart from West Brom, and that is worth 2 points. And finally, question 10, over to you, Zinzan, and this is a Rugby League question.
Yes, Rugby League question. Right. Only 4 clubs have won the Super League in its history. Wigan, St. Helens, and Leeds are 3 of them. Which is the 4th? And that is for 1 point.
Right.
Who was the 4th?
Now, I can't believe at some point, I don't know why you keep going a bit dark there, that's better. I can't believe that you have not at some point during your long career had at least an inquiry maybe, especially with your sort of skills and your handling skills. Did you ever get a little question about rugby league?
Well, I actually signed a contract for Manly. I actually was with Matthew Ridge and Graham Lowe approached myself and asked, and because I actually did enjoy the Aussie Rugby League Championship, and it was absolutely fantastic. So I made a play for it. My lead into that there was probably through the sevens. I went to Hong Kong Sevens, and I sort of flourished in that sort of there. And that was a bit of a platform for me. And then when he approached me, and I actually signed, but there was a couple of reasons why I didn't change in the end. But Matthew Ridge went on to actually make a great name for himself. But I stayed with the union, and I think it was the right decision.
I think you did okay. I don't think your career is too shabby. Okay, so if everybody's written down their questions, Zinzan and I are going to quickly rattle through the answers of the first half of this quiz. So question one was, is Arsenal-Chelsea in the cup final on Saturday? Frank Lampard won it 4 times for Chelsea. He also played for West Ham. Can you name 2 of the other 3 clubs that he has played for? And well done if you've got, Manchester City is 1. But well done if you got one of the other 2. Swansea City, he went out on loan to Swansea City for a while. And he ended at New York City, of course, which is part of the City empire. So if you got 2 of those, that's 2 points. If you got 1, that's 1 point. Question 2.
Yeah, the English club premiership began in 1987. Which team has won the title the most and how many times? And that was for 2 points. And the answer, which I'm sure a lot of you would have got it, is the Leicester Tigers. And how many times did they win it? It was 10 times.
10 times and counting, though it looks as if it might be a while till they win it again. Okay, yeah. Question 3 was Formula 1. So Jackie Stewart, hopefully our lunch guest at the Sporting Club in November. How many world titles did he win? He won 3 world titles. And what was the other sport he was good enough to compete for Scotland at the Commonwealth Games? It's clay pigeon shooting, would you believe? Clay pigeon shooting. So you learned something tonight, people, if you didn't know that. Question 4, Zinzan?
Yeah, that's a cricket. Can you name the main grounds where Leicestershire and Worcestershire play? That was for 2 points. And the answer? Grace Road and New Road. Grace Road and New Road for 2 points.
Yeah, New Road is always underwater. Whenever the Severn floods, absolutely floods New Road in Worcester. Right, question 5, tennis. The big 4, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic and Murray, have cleaned up on the Grand Slams over the years. Can you name the last 2 Grand Slam winners, men's Grand Slam winners, outside that big 4 to win a Grand Slam? And they are 2016 US Open Stan Wawrinka and 2014 also the US Open Marin Cilic. So those are the only 2 who have slightly gate crashed the big 4 parties. Absolutely, we're privileged to live in the greatest era of tennis ever. Question 6, Zinzan, over to you.
Yeah, well, this is the golf question. This might be a little bit of a tricky one because I probably think it's going to be an obvious answer, but it's the golf question. The Ryder Cup has been postponed until next year. Can you name the 2 Americans who have played the most Ryder Cups? And it was for 2 points. And the answers are Phil Mickelson, and he played 11 times. And the other was Jim Furyk, who played 9 times. So,
yeah, tricky one. Well done if you got Furyk. Everybody will be thinking Jack Nicklaus or people like that.
Yeah,
Arnold Palmer, not Jim Furyk. Okay, question 7. The Olympic question I had was 5 British Olympians have won 4 summer gold medals. Can you name 3 of them? They are Sir Ben Ainsley, who was magnificent as one of our lunch guests. So Sir Matthew Pinson, Sir Mo Farah, Laura Kenny, of course, née Trott. She's on 4 and counting. And if you got this one, well, you're either extremely old or you really know your stuff. A water polo player between 1908 and 1920, Paolo Radmilovic. Doesn't sound very British, but nonetheless British. So if you got 3 of those, 3 points, and very well done. So Ben Ainsley, Sir Matthew Pinsent, Sir Mo Farah, Laura Kenny, and of course, Paolo Radmilovic. Okay, question 8, Zinzan.
Question 8, 1907, Manu Tuolangi. Right, next question.
What Zinzan forgot to say there was England.
Rugby, the last year's Rugby World Cup, the semi-final, England beat New Zealand. Can you name the score and who was the game's only try scorer for 2 points? And the answer is the score was 19-7, and the only try scorer was Manu Tuolangi.
There we go. Question 9. West Bromwich Albion just been promoted. The manager is Slaven Bilic. Can you name 2 other clubs that Slaven has managed? West Ham, of course, is one. Well done if he got one of these 2. Hajduk Split in his native Croatia, or Lokomotiv Moscow. He has really done the European rounds, has Slaven. Okay, question 10 and the last question of this first half of the quiz. Over to you, Zinzan.
Question 10 is a rugby league. Only 4 clubs have won the Super League in its history. Wigan, St Helens, and Leeds are 3 of them. Which is the 4th? For 1 point, I'm sure the rugby league purists would know, but they are the Bradford Bulls.
The Bradford Bulls, but they've only won it a couple of times, and it's been dominated by the others. It's funny that, isn't it? All the teams in the Super League, and only 4 teams have won it in all the time it's been going. Right, it's half time, everybody. So instead of Zinzan going into dressing room for his oranges and his tea, he's going to have to talk to me now for 10 minutes or so. And Zinni, let's begin with 87, 91, 95 World Cups. 87, you were sort of on the periphery, weren't you there? But it was the first ever World Cup, and people forget what a great team that was.
Yeah, it was. It was a very special side. It was, and we can't forget about 1986 when the, rugby was probably in a little bit of a different. It was a bit of a different time here because there was a bit of a divide in New Zealand because the Cavaliers toured South Africa in 1986. So I think it was probably the right place at the right time, a Rugby World Cup in New Zealand, and to kickstart what has been an absolutely fantastic competition. So I absolutely loved playing in the first World Cup, and I got my opportunity to play against Argentina at Wellington. So I was very lucky. And in those days here, the squads were only 26 players. Now it's I think there's 30. Is it? What is it now? I think it's 30 or 32.
32, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 32 with the rules. The a whole front row needs to be replaced. So I enjoyed it. 26 players, and I was one of them. I was the one that could cover all 3 positions: open side, blind side, and number 8. Yeah,
you can probably cover about 10 positions, to be fair. When you look at the World Cup now, I don't mean this in a disparaging way at all, because it was brilliant. But when you compare the '87 World Cup to what it's like now, it was like a village fete, wasn't it, compared to what it is now?
Yeah, absolutely. The way it's transformed, and I think it's transformed for the better. The rugby. Look, you look back some of the archives of some of the rugby that's, back in 87, 91, 90, 95, there were special games, but I think the changes, I think the tier 2 nations are a lot more competitive and can actually upset the top players, because there's no easy games. Every now and again you're gonna get things are going to go in your favor, and you can actually you can some teams can take a bit of a battering, but now with the games it's so exposed, and the diversity of the rugby now is fantastic. And I'd love to see one of the smaller nations actually would be great to get to a quarterfinal, semi-final. Would be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, like Japan did last year, but
which is
great. So 91, you were. I don't know. Did you go in his favourites? You were certainly one of the best, and he got undone by the Aussies in the semi. Old your mate Campo up to his tricks or so, and England lost in the final. But then 95, of course, the famous 95 quite a few things to talk about there. First of all, well, you just cruise through the tournament, get to the semi-final. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And you absolutely battered England. And there was a young Tongan of descent winger.
Yes.
It's not as if he didn't know what was coming, because he'd been doing it all the way through the tournament. But as, of course, we all know, he scored 4 tries against England in a World Cup semi-final. And you had the best seats in the house to watch it, didn't you?
Yeah.
We're talking about Jonah Lomu, I should add.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Look, he was a tremendous player, and you can't forget the age. He was only 18 years of age, and so, but a young man, but knew where the try line was, and made it look easy. A lot of players, forwards and backs, have felt the pain on many a times that when that guy's at full pace and he can move quite quickly. And he can step, but he can run through, round, and over you, and that was a phenomenal thing. But he made people watch rugby who didn't, and that for me is the legacy of him. And look, I was in the box seat in 1995, but the tries that he scored were just absolutely outstanding. And look, and a lot of people, they sort of brush over that, but that England actually, do you remember? You'll remember in 1993, actually England beat us at Twickenham 15-9, and the core of that All Black side felt the pain. So the only time that our next time was that semi-final, and there was about 8 to 11 guys who actually in that side played at Twickenham, and we were absolutely gutted. So we wanted the payback, and we felt that we were in good form. We were playing well, but we were not going to walk away without a win on that game.
I tell you what, it's bad enough having an 18-year-old winger trample all over you and score 4 tries, but as if that wasn't bad enough, the flanker decides to pop a drop goal over a flanker from 40 yards out.
Did you say 48 meters?
Oh, was it 48? Not that you're counting. And that was your first. I mean, you're not supposed to do that, Zinzan. Why did you even think about doing that?
Well, look, I used to practice all the time. So when I played first 15 rugby and I played club rugby, because I lived on a big farm, so we never every Saturday we would never have a full team. And my front lawn is probably about 10 times as big as this. So I had 35 acres. My dad was the coach, and my mum was the manager. So I always made the team. So I was always selected. So I wanted to. So my dad used to tell me, he said, "Look, go out and practice your skills." And one of the things I used to love doing was kicking a ball. So I used to do place kicks, drop kicks all the time. So for me, that was just one of those sort of things. I used to kick Grant Fox's balls back to him at training sessions. And yeah, I know it was a World Cup. Yeah, I know it was a semi-final. Yeah, I know it was against England. But you want to win the game, and what better to do a drop goal in a World Cup? So, but it's thank God it went over.
Well, exactly. Well, depends whose point of view you're looking at. And of course, famously, you did another one against Wales at Wembley, and in doing so, you are the only rugby player ever to score a goal at Wembley.
Exactly, yeah. And I didn't know that stat. Someone actually told me straight after the game about that. So it was just one of those. I wasn't even calling for it. Justin Marshall he looked around, and I think I carried the ball in that first ruck, and then someone actually took it on, and I just stood up, and I thought, oh, Andrew Mertens or someone is going to go left or right, but he turned around, and then he flicked the ball back to me, and I went, oh, okay, right, I'll just stick it through this post. Yeah, once again, that went over as well.
Once again. 95, obviously, in the final, famously, you lost, rather like last year where, South Africa won. If you're English fans, you want England to win. But if you were kind of like world rugby fans, it was a great story seeing Kolosi lifting the trophy and everything else. 95 was a great story. The Rainbow Nation, Nelson Mandela, Francois Pienaar wearing the number 6 jersey, all of that stuff. When you look back on that, do you sort of see that argument, or do you just see, well, we lost the Rugby World Cup final. And of course, one of those age-old debates that go in all the pubs around the world is, was that New Zealand team well, or were there some shenanigans that went on with the state of your health?
Yeah, look, I never wanted to make excuses for that. There, look, we went there, we stood up to play the final, but I can tell you right now, hand on heart, it wasn't a level playing field, and I probably should actually leave it at that politically, because it's, you know, I don't want to. It was one of those sort of things, but there was definitely something that happened on Thursday afternoon that a lot of guys didn't make the Friday, well, the Friday captain's run, which is what we always do. But look, we said we could play. We knew that, we felt, you know, we could still beat them. The trouble is that we were at altitude, and then when we went into extra time, we still felt that we could actually win, and what we're trying to do is we were trying to get ourselves in a position to do a drop goal. You know, part of the chat when we had the 2-minute break before we entered extra time, we were trying to set ourselves up for a drop goal to equalise, which would have been 15-all. We lost the game 15-12, but we equalised with a drop goal. So we were trying to get ourselves in around about the 22 for Andrew Mertens, Mertz, to actually to do a drop goal, and would have been 15-all. If we'd gone in after extra time for 15-all, we would have won. Because there was the situation was that James Dalton got sent off against the semi-final against Canada, and that was the rule. So we knew that going into extra time. But there was definitely something that was not right. So, but look, at the end of the day, South Africa, and I think probably for the right reasons, it's happened, and it's all good.
One thing you can say, apart from the World Cup in '87, of course, you were part of a team that won a Lions series, and unless you're very lucky, you only get one shot at it, don't you? Every 12 years, and you were part of a team that beat the Lions. It was a great Lions team, and it was a great series, wasn't it? It was a real epic series. You came home 2-1 in the end, but it was nip and tuck for a while, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was. That actually could have actually gone both ways out there. I thought we were lucky for that there, and that was a very good Lions team. And yeah, like you say, you only get one opportunity to play against the Lions, and you got to make the most of it. And that's one of the special things, you know. When you look back at rugby of your dynasty of how you. What you took away from the game, and when you look at it, the opportunity of just going once in your lifetime to play against the Lions, you know, it's fantastic, and it's you know, it's one of the beautiful things that you can't take away. And so it's where is the next Lions tour? The next one it's
next summer in South Africa. It's Lions against South Africa next summer.
Yeah,
the world champions. So that's going to be an absolute cracker, I'd imagine.
Cracker, yeah.
We've got to wrap up our halftime chat, but before we do, just for anybody who doesn't know, because they'll all be wondering. I mean, how many people in the world have a Christian name that is Zinzan? How many in the whole world? Do you know any other Zinzans? Why are you called Zinzan?
Why? Well, it's a. You want to know the origin of it? How long? I'll just do it at 2 minutes. Zinzan.
Yeah.
Zinzan is. Okay. Zinzan is. It's Italian. So my origin is Italian. So it used to be Zinzano, not Cinzano. It used to be Zinzano. So my grandmother was Sybil Zinzan. So in 1524, the Zinzanos came from Italy and went to Leighton, Essex, and in 1555 they anglicised and changed the Zinzano, Zinzano. They chopped the O off and became Zinzan, and so the Zinzans. I've been here 22 years, and I've never gone and seen and visited my Zinzans at the graves. I need to go and do that. So,
but also what that tells us is that really you're English, so you could have played for us.
well, yeah, my grandparents are English. Yeah. So, yeah, I could have done. Yeah, both my grandparents are English. So, yeah, it was.
It's another one that got away. It's another one that got away.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We need to get back to the quiz,
Okay.
Zinzan. So, if everybody's ready, toss up your mark for the. Sorry?
Am I a little bit?
Are you okay?
No, I'm just
right. Okay, so I'm going to get going first. You've got a little bit dark on us again, Zinzan.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
There we go. That's beautiful. So, question 11, everybody. Sir Bradley Wiggins, he won 5 Olympic gold medals. In fact, he won 8 medals in total, which is a record. Nobody's won 8 medals in Team GB apart from Sir Bradley. Can you name 2 of the 3 disciplines that he won gold medals in? And that is worth 2 points. Okay, 2 of the 3 disciplines that Sir Bradley Wiggins won his 5 Olympic gold medals in. Zinzan, question 12.
Yeah, question 12 for the boxers. The boxers. This is it's a guy who I thought was unbelievable at a young age. I think it was 18 or 19 when he first came out. But it's Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson announced his comeback last week. Who did he beat? To first become world champion, and who beat him the first time to remove it? Mike Tyson, announced his comeback last week. Who did he beat? And the first time to become a world champion, and who beat him the first time to remove it? That's for 2 points.
Okay, right. Question 13. England have just defeated the West Indies 2-1 in the Test series that finished the other day. Fantastic, actually, really good Test series considering everything that's going on in the world. So Courtney Walsh and Curtly Ambrose lead the bowling figures in terms of most Test wickets bagged by West Indians. They're 1 and 2. Who are 3 and 4 in the all-time West Indies bowling Test wicket list? Numbers 3 and 4 in the West Indies bowlers list. Who are they? And that is worth 2 points as well. Zinzan, question 14, please.
Question 14. Back to the rugby, and this is a 2-pointer. So listen carefully. Rugby. I used to play and coach at Harlequins. Can you name the 2 Quins players in the England World Cup final squad last November for 2 points? So Quins fans will know, I'm pretty sure. I don't need the answer because I know who those 2 players are as well. So, they're good players.
I'd expect you would, to be honest. Right, my turn. Question 15. Summer Olympics. Can you name the last 2 Team GB flag bearers? So, therefore, who at the opening ceremony held the flag proudly in front of themselves in 2016 in Rio, and of course 2012 in London? Who are the 2? Both very, very famous Olympians. That's worth 2 points.
That's a toughie, that.
Well, okay. All right. Your turn. Question 16.
Okay, Formula One. Can you name the 3 famous New Zealand F1 drivers who all raced at the same time in the 1960s? Now, that one there, that is for 3 points. I'll give it to you again. Can you name the 3 famous New Zealand F1 drivers who all raced at the same time in the 1960s for 3 points?
Now, I bet you know that one, don't you?
Well, I know one of them, but I didn't know the other 2. Sorry.
Did you not? Okay, fine. Well, you do now, so you've learned something tonight, okay? Right, my turn. Question 17. It's a tennis question. So the top 3 female Grand Slam winners are Margaret Court from Australia, Serena Williams from America, and Steffi Graf from Germany. However, who are the top 3 female Grand Slam finalists? That's not the same as winners. Finalists. Steffi Graf, sorry, not Steffi Graf. Serena Williams is one of them. Can you name the other 2? And to help you, they're not in that list that I gave you of top winners. So we're not asking for the top winners. We're asking for the top finalists. top three. Serena is one. Who are the other two? Very famous. So you might be able to work out certainly one of them, if not two of them. Okay, question 18, Zinzan, that's for you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Listen carefully. This is going to be a little bit of a tricky one. This is a boxing question. In the two boxing films, The Fighter and Raging Bull, which real-life boxers did Mark Wahlberg and Robert De Niro play? For 2 points. I'll say that again. In the two boxing films, The Fighter and Raging Bull, which real-life boxers did Mark Wahlberg and Robert De Niro play?
Great. Have you seen those films? Great films.
I have. I have watched both of those. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, boxing's a great sport for films, isn't it? I mean, you think of all the great sport-related films, and half of them are boxing. Obviously, there's the whole Rocky series, but
they're all a knockout.
There's the one with Russell Crowe, who of course is a Kiwi. People forget that.
Yeah.
What was that one called? It was he's very good at it anyway. So it's much more than rugby. I was going to say the only rugby film I can think of is Invictus, but I don't suppose you enjoyed that particularly.
I've never watched it.
There we go.
No,
right. Okay, my turn. Question 19. Liverpool, who obviously are crowned league champions, Premier League champions, last won the title in 1990. Absolutely extraordinary. It took them 30 years to win the title again. Can you say who the manager was of that 1990 team? And secondly, who was the top scorer that year for Liverpool when they won the title in 1990? Zinni, are you a football fan? And if so, what's your team?
I am a football fan. I actually do. I do like it. My team is actually Chelsea. Yeah.
Big day for you on Saturday, then.
Sorry?
Big day for you on Saturday.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, it's it's phenomenal, and I really think they've done well. There's some really exciting players. I was watching the game. Was it 2 weeks? Was it a week ago? Was it last week? Goodness gracious me! And like these guys are a bit under pressure because I think, is that right? But I'm sure they're all capable of doing it. But these guys have been doing sometimes they're doing 2 games a week for the last few weeks, haven't they? And I think that's it's asking a question. But these guys are. It must be quite difficult playing with just a voice box, laughing crowd, but no people in the stand. But I think it's been absolutely phenomenal. So I do follow my football. I love the skill sets. Are
you going to give me an objective prediction for Saturday?
I think. I just think I think at the moment Chelsea. I think Chelsea will. I hope they do, but I think they've got the ammunition to actually do it, and I think they'll pull it out of the bag, and I think they'll deliver. So I think I'm going to go with Chelsea.
If Chelsea win, and it's an if because Arsenal are a little bit hot and cold, but if Chelsea win, I will say, and you heard it here first, that if they were to win, Giroud will score because it will be against his old team, and that's just the sporting scriptwriter in the sky doing his or her bit again.
You think that's going to happen?
If Chelsea win, Giroud will score. Mark my words, okay? It's just one of those things. One of those things, it's going to happen. Right, your turn to ask the final question of the evening, and it's something quite personal.
Yes, well, it should be an easy peasy question, but it's the rugby. What is the Christian name of my brother who played 62 times for the All Blacks?
There we go. Do you know the answer to that question?
Well, yeah, I did get that wrong.
You've got a few, actually, haven't you? But anyway, that's fine. Right. So what we're going to do, we're just going to rattle through the answers fairly quickly. So if everybody's ready, I'll start with Sir Bradley Wiggins. He won 5 Olympic gold medals, 8 medals in total at the Olympics. Can you name 2 of the 3 disciplines that he won his golds in? They are the individual pursuit, the team pursuit, and the time trial. The time trial was in 2012, a ridiculous couple of weeks where he won the Tour de France, rang the bell at the opening ceremony of the London Olympics, and then went on to win the the time trial. And you know what? I haven't asked you this, Zinzan. You'll like to keep yourself fit.
Yeah.
Are you a keen cyclist, and are you a keen cycle fan? Because they may not be the same.
I do like cycling, but I tend to go off piste. I tend not to do the road cycling because I'm a big piece of real estate on a bike, and I prefer to actually go on. I prefer to go off on the country. So I've got we've got bikes in the garage there that I go out. So I normally do cross country for a couple of hours 2 times a week.
A little bit of mountain biking, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of mountain biking. Yeah, that's for me. That tickles my fancy.
Well, it may tickle your fancy. It might also do something else because, to put it candidly, that's quite hard work on parts of the body when we're jiggling up and down on hard surfaces, isn't it?
Yeah, but you got to have the skill. Well, the one thing here is, it's making sure that you don't pull your front handbrake on there when you're going down hills and all that sort of thing. But it's actually been fine. I just don't want to fall over and dislocate my shoulder or anything like that. So I just tend to actually just slow down and not race. So yeah, no, it's good.
Those cyclists, they're phenomenal, aren't they? They're absolutely phenomenal. The lengths that they go day after day after day when they're in a big grand tour.
Oh, and the way they push each other, it is absolutely phenomenal. But fair play to them. It's just one of those sort of things. And there's no hiding place. You don't get any reprieve of say, hey, can you guys just slow it down for a second so I can catch my breath and then I'll catch up to you. No, it's not like that. It's brutal. So it's a big pain barrier that these guys go through, and they demonstrate it, and they just laugh about it afterwards. But it's exciting to see.
Okay, question 12. Could you provide the answer, please?
Okay, boxing. Mike Tyson announced his comeback last week. Who did he beat first to become world champion, and who beat him and the first time to remove it? The answers were Trevor Burbick in 1986 and Buster Douglas in 1990. Trevor Burbick and Buster Douglas.
Yeah, and for those who can remember, Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson at the time was, nobody would have.
No.
So it turned out there were lots of issues going on with Tyson, lots of personal issues, which helped his head wasn't right. But nobody, if you put money on Buster Douglas beating Tyson, you'd be a wealthy person now.
Yeah. No, he was.
Hell of a shot.
He was just that Tyson was just an animal. He was just. That's respectfully call him an animal because he was just phenomenal. He was just a phenomenal boxer, and when he got that punch in right on your noggin, you were out. So it was. And
do you remember the ring walk? Everybody else was all done up in robes and crowns and everything. He just was in his black shorts.
Yeah,
that was it. Nothing else. It just strode.
Not flash. Just get on with it. Carry on. Right, come on. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Pull on the gloves. Right. Oh, goodness.
Which I think was probably more intimidating actually than all the fancy stuff that everybody else used to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, question 13, the West Indies question, which is Courtney Walsh and Curtly Ambrose are 1 and 2 in the all-time West Indies bowlers lists in terms of Test match wickets. Who's 3 and 4? The answer is the great Malcolm Marshall with 376 wickets, and this is the curveball one. Lance Gibbs, the spinner, with 309. I bet everybody's thinking Mikey Holding, Andy Roberts, but it was Lance Gibbs with 309. Okay, question 14, Zinzan.
Rugby question. Okay, this is for the Harlequins fans. I used to play and coach at Harlequins. Can you name the 2 Quins players in the England World Cup final squad last November for 2 points? I gather that's 1 point for each. If you get Kyle Sinclair for 1 point and Joe Marler for 1 point. Well done.
There we go.
Yeah.
Kyle Sinclair, if you remember, everybody, was left the field after just a couple of minutes with an injury, which obviously is not how you want to remember your World Cup final. And he had such a good World Cup. We'll never know, will we? But it didn't do England any favours. Right, my turn. Question 15, Summer Olympics.
Yeah,
can you name Summer Olympics? Oh, yes. Can you name the last 2 Team GB flag bearers at the opening ceremony. Both extremely famous, extremely high achieving sports men. 2016 was the subsequently knighted Sir Andy Murray. And 2012, if you remember this, Zinzan, Team GB walked into the Olympic Stadium to the music of David Barry's Heroes. Everybody erupted, and it was Sir Chris Hoy who was holding the flag.
Beautiful moment.
What a moment. What a moment.
Very special. Yeah, it does. It does. Even like that, when you sort of, when you think about the history and the timings of all that there, it does actually do, it does put a little a tinkle in the back of your head. It's I do love moments like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, your turn. Question. That's where are we now? Question 16.
16. Yeah. This is the Formula One, which is for 3 points. So you get them all right, you're going to jump ahead. So, can you name the 3 famous New Zealand Formula One drivers who all raced at the same time in the 1960s? And they were, which the one I knew, but I didn't know the other 2, which was Bruce McLaren and Denny Hulme and Chris Amon. Bruce McLaren, Denny Hulme, and Chris Amon.
So Bruce McLaren was the most famous, and obviously the team eventually was named after him. Denny Hulme, though, is the only one of those 3 who became world champion. He was world champion for 1 year. He just had one of those amazing years.
Yeah,
and
1 year.
Chris Amon, we mentioned Sir Jackie Stewart earlier, who's going to be our lunch guest in November. Sir Jackie Stewart described Chris Amon as the best Formula One driver in history, never to win a Grand Prix. He had so much bad luck, like the car collapsing with 1 lap to go when he's in the lead. That happened time and time again. He left us. He parted from this world a couple of years ago. I went to see him. I used to live on the shores of Lake Taupo, which is a beautiful spot, as you will know well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do. Taupo, very very special place. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that the history about Chris. But it's very unfortunate. But sometimes it's just not your way. It's there's many great ones that have not achieved the ultimate goal.
You need to have everything going for, including a little slice of luck every so often. Okay, your turn, Zinny. Question 17. It's my turn. Question 17 is my turn. It's a tennis question. The top 3 female Grand Slam winners are Margaret Court, Serena Williams, and Steffi Graf. But who are the top 3 women who have made finals? If one of them is Serena Williams, who are the other 2? And this is worth 2 points. Well, the woman who's played in most finals in the history of tennis is Chris Evert with 34 finals. Second was Serena Williams with 33. And third, Martina Navratilova in 32. They both did pretty well, mind you. They both won 18 of them, but that's where they're 4th and 5th in the all-time winners.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn, Zinzan. Yep. Question 18, boxing.
Question 18. So this is the boxing. Okay, in the 2 boxing films, The Fighter and Raging Bull, which real-life boxers did Mark Wahlberg and Robert De Niro play? Which is for 2 points, and it is Mickey Ward and Jake LaMotta.
Yeah, there we go. I think you've got to know your boxing. You've got to know your boxing to know that. Yeah. That Russell Crowe film was The Cinderella Man. I just remember what it was called. If you've not seen it, you should watch it. It's about James Braddock, who was a heavyweight champion for a short period of time in the 30s. But it's a really cool film. Okay, my turn. Question 19. Liverpool just won the Premier League. They last won the title in 1990. Unbelievably. Who was the manager at the time, and who was the top scorer? Well, the manager was Kenny Dalglish, and the top scorer, would you believe, because he wasn't an out-and-out, centre forward. He was a winger. It was John Barnes with 22 goals that season.
Barnesy, wow.
Yeah.
Fair play. Yeah.
And by the way, I haven't even mentioned this. I did mention this in our intro. Zinzan treated us all to a hacker at our sports awards, and John Barnes treated us all to a rap at the sports awards as well. And the 2 of them absolutely brought the house down.
Yeah.
So there we go. Rapping, hackering, we had it all at our awards dinner. And last but not least, the honour goes to you, Zinzan. The final question and final answer, please.
The final. Oh, hang on a second here.
It's the personal one.
Yes. Yeah. So, what's the Christian name of my brother who played 62 times for the All Blacks for 1 point, and it is Robin. His Christian name is Robin. Roberto is what we refer to him as.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
And he played 62 times, and you played 58 times. But of course, you also played another 42 non-international times. So if you put them together, did you play more times than he did for the All Blacks?
I think I just pipped him. Yeah, so he played 60. I think he played 69 or 70. I think he's 69
in total.
Yeah, in total. Yeah. So yeah.
And you were very different, weren't you? Because he was much bigger than you, wasn't he? Strapping second row, wasn't he?
Well, actually, when he was honestly, he was. There's. We're trying to find it. When he was about 10 years old, my sister did ballet, and he's in a tutu. And
nice.
I want to drag that out and try and, but he was not the enforcer of the player that he turned out to be. But Graham Henry saw him in 1983, the New Zealand schoolboys toured here. Graham Henry picked him as a lock forward. He just out of the blue picked him, and then that was his pathway till he was from 16 to when he finished playing for the All Blacks. But he was he had to do a lot of weightlifting. He had to pack on about 15 kilos. So but he wasn't tall, but he had a good engine on him.
He did. And you know what? As we all know, rugby is a religion in New Zealand. Your dad, what on earth did your dad think, having two of his sons being not just, slight All Blacks, full on All Blacks, been there, done it, won everything, over 100 caps between the two of you, if you just called test caps, your dad must have had a permanent smile on his face.
Well, absolutely.
And your mum, one should add as well.
No, both of them were delighted. And, we grew up on a very humble beginnings. There wasn't, we had as a childhood, I had got great memories growing up as a kid. Yes, look, there's squabbles and fights and all the rest of it, but it all happens, and the new day you just crack on with it. But look, Dad was delighted about it because he would get free tickets to the games, and he loved it. He toured a couple of the on the All Black tours in the Northern Hemisphere. But I'm very appreciative of what they did and provided for us, and still love them to bits. It's brilliant, love it.
All right, okay, well, fantastic. Well, we've come to the end of the quiz. Hopefully, everybody's totted up their marks. It's out of 40. Zinni, I like to think that a good quiz, you should be getting something like between 25 and maybe 30. So it's not too easy, but it's not too hard. It's no fun if you don't know any of the answers. Hopefully people learned a few things tonight, and they did okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fine. But mid-range has got to be, you've got to be competing if you're going to be a minimum of 25. Around about the 30 to 32 would be a good score. So there's a couple of tricky ones in there. So, yeah. Especially
the last one for you, but you managed to get it with Robin. Okay. Well, listen, Zinni, we've come to the end. This country has long forgiven you for embarrassing us in 1995. You're one of us now. As it's turned out, you always were one of us. If you go back to the Zinzans of Leighton, you're an East Ender. You're a Cockney. That's what you are.
One of my cousins actually, John Zinzan, is a dentist. He's a dentist in London. So he's finished now. He's retired, but I'm not too sure. Well, I'm pretty sure. I think he used to do Princess Diana's teeth.
Yeah.
So so that was.
There we go. So see, you're one that got away. We wish you could have played for us, but we still loved your career. Thank you so much, Zinzan, for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Flew by, didn't it? I told you it would.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just say to all the people that are watching, which there's a special individual down in New Zealand has fallen by. There's a guy, Andy Hayden. He's sadly, I think it was yesterday morning, passed away. So to the rugby purist, he was a great guy, a great man, a rugby man, and his contribution to not only New Zealand rugby but to club rugby in New Zealand as a whole was absolutely phenomenal. And he actually played for Harlequins actually here for a season while he was actually over in playing in Rome. Phenomenal guy. It's very sad for his departure, but just wanted to share that with you and people watching.
Lovely. All right, Zinzan, thanks for that, and rest in peace, Andy. Yep. Enjoy the rest of the evening of your little blue sky in your garden there. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch up with you hopefully very soon.
Thanks all the best. Cheers, guys.
Thanks a lot, Zinzan. Thank you very much indeed. So, everybody, we come to the end of another sports quiz with the stars. Huge thank you to the legend that is Mr. Zinzan Brooke. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Again, a huge thank you to our exclusive sponsors tonight, TAG, the Test Assurance Group, again, playing a very, very important and very relevant role right now because they present end-to-end testing solutions for COVID-19. They're working directly with employers to deliver a complete antibody and antigen testing to employees to enable a safe, controlled, fast and manageable approach to return to work. The systems are data-led, providing employers with a critical return to work information as we bring the UK back into the offices and back to work. And so say all of us. Let's get this country going again. So a big thank you to TAG and for joining us and for backing us and supporting us, and best of luck to all the team there. And a big thank you to all of you as well for watching tonight. Hope you enjoyed Zinzan. He's a great friend of the club, and what a player, what a legend that man was and indeed is. So we're back again next week, and we have Nick Compton as our quiz co-host, the former England batsman, of course. And the week after, we have the Rugby League legend, that is Martin of Fire, who will be joining us as well. Before we know it, will be in September. We have a David Hay lunch in September, a Barry Hearn breakfast in October, a Tim Henman lunch in October, and hopefully a Sir Jackie Stewart lunch in November as well. And so much else going on with the sporting club, including our brand new hospitality and lifestyle division as well. So check us out at the usual place, www.thesportingclub.co. So all that's left for me to do is to thank you very much for joining us. Have a great week. Enjoy the sunshine whilst you can, and let's do it all again next week. Until then, thank you and good night.